Hello. Welcome back, guys. I'm here with Maddie, my co-host, and we're already on episode 4. Like,
I know. It's like the 1 week, like we haven't released our first episode yet. So it's the 1 week before we release it. And I was kind of like thinking the shower. I'm like, oh my God, we're like 1 week out,
I
from the first
know.
one.
I'm
That's
really
exciting.
excited. It feels like it's been such a long time coming because like when did we have the conversation about this idea? Like June maybe?
Uh yeah, I'd have to go through our messages
I
to
need to
where we first
look back
agreed.
to when we created that document that's now like 8 miles long. But I love it because we've put so much into it and it's like exciting for you guys to finally hear it because like it's just us listening to it, like doing show notes, editing,
hmm
putting it
Getting
all out
excited,
there. Yeah.
right?
So
Right.
I'm so
Uh,
excited. So how are you feeling today? I told you it's like kind of gloomy here. It's a little rainy. The vibes are low, but like now the vibes are high because I just got really excited thinking about you guys are going to be listening to this time next week.
Yeah, it's actually really sunny. It was kind of gloomy yesterday. It's sunny today, so I'm not complaining about that. We had a pretty mild summer, to be honest.
Yeah.
And this past week, it was like kind of gloomy, and Joel actually wanted to rewatch, as in me rewatch for like the 500th time, which is fine. But for him, it's like watch the parts he missed when he was sleeping, Harry Potter. And I don't know if we've ever talked about Harry Potter, but like my family grew up on Harry Potter. Like we
Okay.
went to the movie premieres.
Oh
Like
my
when I
God.
say premieres, I say we were there in line with our wands at like 1 a.m. It was the best. So we started rewatching them, and I don't know if you get like nostalgic watching movies like
Oh,
that, but like
totally.
I cry every time I watch the first Harry Potter. Like it makes me feel some type of way.
Yeah, I totally get that. I love Harry Potter. I am also the Joel in this situation. I fall asleep. Like you put a movie on, if I'm laying down, I'm out. It doesn't matter what time of day. But I
Uh,
love Harry Potter. It does make me feel so nostalgic. Well, I never went to like I wasn't that big into Harry Potter like growing up. It was more like a high school college thing. I remember I had an ulcer. And so I was like out of school for like, I don't know, a week or so. And all I wanted to do was just like lay in bed and like watch all of the Harry Potters. And it was like my first time watching it in like high school or middle school or something. And it was great. So every time I watch it, I just feel so nostalgic. But the the midnight premiere vibes, that was like me and my friends for Twilight. And it's like
oh, those were good too. He refuses to watch that. It makes me so mad.
they're so bad, but they're so good.
They're
Like
so bad and so good at the same time.
the vibes are just immaculate and like oh my god it is like my teenage years like that is
Mm.
oh so I like is it weird to get like giddy talking about like those nostalgic
No,
movies
no,
like
I get the same way.
it's
Yeah,
good memories.
it just puts you in a good mood. I think it
Yes.
takes you back to when you were watching it. Like I remember sitting in the movie theater. I don't even remember the scene. Was it? I don't think it was an uncle of Harry's, not Sever, not Sirius. I think a professor, the one who was part werewolf,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that scene where he's turning into a werewolf. I was like, I had like a paper napkin in front of my face, and I was like, ah, it was creepy. Tell me
Yeah,
that's not creepy when they're transforming.
it's super creepy and like also the spiders like when the spiders are I forget what movie it
Oh,
is.
the
uh
second, the
like
second.
I literally
Uh,
hate bugs. I hate spiders. I do not do the killing of them in the house because I just like I get disgusted. The cats don't help. They just kind of like stare and they're like I'm like okay, you guys really suck. So James has to do that. But watching the spiders, I was like, "Ugh," like that was my moment of like hiding. Like I did a lot of like this.
that's so. That was literally the scene we were watching like 2 nights ago. So that's funny they bring that up.
I just like I know what you're thinking.
I know
I'm
we're
like I'm
just.
like in your head.
It is. I almost said. What is it? It is osmosis, right?
No, that has to do with like
Yeah.
osmosis.
Yeah. Like you like kind of
Oh
right?
yeah,
No.
I thought that was like water. Do you mean like our
Yeah,
thoughts are just like few like
telepathic.
there's okay, yeah, telepathic. I mean,
Osmosis.
I guess sure, I will go with you on that. I think you can find a way to explain that where I would be like, you know what, she makes sense.
But you know what I do remember? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
If I were learned one thing, it was that. Oh my God.
Literally.
So today we're going to do something a little bit different on episode 4. We are going to like introduce little segments so that we can kind of, I guess, cover a little bit more in one episode, but it won't be as long. I guess if that's like how you would explain it.
Yeah, just little things that
Yeah.
little different segments. Keep it
Little different
fun.
segments.
Keep it fun.
So
I don't know.
you brought this topic to my attention. I had seen it like on TikTok, but I didn't really like know a lot about it. So do you want to kind of like start with this one? This
Yeah.
the one that you had sent me.
Okay, now granted, keep in mind, I did not do a full deep dive. Should I have? Probably. Did I forget? Yes. But
Yeah.
anyway, from the TikTok deep dive that I did, there was a health, we could say, vegan influencer, Russian, I believe. And she just died recently. And a lot of the news, I would say, was um, portraying it as she died of a vegan diet. But in reality, I would say there's just so many things about this. She was a vegan, not only a vegan, she was a raw vegan. And that's like vegan if you really don't know, you don't have any animal products. Like there are some vegans that like don't even do honey because it
Hmm.
comes from an animal product. And then a raw vegan is someone that doesn't cook anything. So they probably do smoothies, I would assume, unless it doesn't like get to a certain temperature, maybe. I don't know how strict that lifestyle is. But she was doing a raw vegan. So, eating things like a whole watermelon, like raw, unroasted, cashews or nuts and seeds and that type of thing. And from some of her like photos and things, like, she did look for being someone that doesn't want to like judge someone on how they look, but like she did look on the unhealthy side. Like she was malnourished, like not eating enough food. So it just kind of brings into play of how the media was portraying it as like she died of a vegan influencer. Well, in reality, like it wasn't her being a vegan or a raw vegan, and I'm not like for either of those diets. Like I don't think one person needs to be on any specific diet, like as a whole. Like everyone should be this, everyone should be that, right? Like me and Allie have never said that. It's more dependent on what does that person need? What can their lifestyle, like what can they do with their lifestyle? What makes sense? What health problems do they have? Like I have to stay away from gluten because of my autoimmune. So things like that. But they were portraying it as she died because she was a vegan. And it's not to say you could die from being a vegan. I think me and Ally both have probably similar thoughts on the vegan diet and like not getting enough nutrients and things like that, especially as women. But most likely it was the fact that she was just malnourished and probably had some I'm not going to say an eating disorder because I'm not a RD, I'm not a specialist. She probably had disordered eating habits that led her to that, to dying, fortunately.
Yeah. It's so sad too because I feel like with TikTok now, like everything is such a spectacle. And, this person did put all this information out. This was her life. Like she was a big influencer and shared this part of her life, which, you know, yes, people can comment on, but then it's like it's also really sad because like this person was probably suffering. I mean, I don't know, like that's a really hard and strict diet. And even though
Yeah.
they may have been like, oh, this is really great, I feel amazing, like it, it begs the question, like, what got you to doing this? Like, and you're not eating unhealthy foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, like all those things are healthy, right? But then it's like, well, we're not eating enough. We're not getting enough of the things that our body needs. And so that's where it can be unhealthy or even dangerous. And I mean, unfortunately, now she's passed away and like that's really, really an intense thing. And um when we look at different influencers or people on TikTok, I think we need to remind ourselves just because somebody looks a certain way, they have a certain diet, does not mean that that's what you need to do.
Mm.
Um, because, you know, someone could also be portraying something online and like they're not living that way
Oh
offline.
my
You
God.
know what I
How
mean? So
many times,
like
yeah, how many
it's
times
yeah.
have we seen like, well, two things. How many times have we seen vegan influencers get caught for like eating meat? People are like, you're not vegan, and
That
true.
is yeah, that is it's really, really, really funny that you say that because I was catching up on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last night, like the previous season. And there's this woman, Sutton, and she's a vegetarian, but she eats bacon once a day on vacation. Like she has one slice of bacon a day on vacation. And one of the girls, Diana, was like, I have never heard of a bacon eating vegetarian. Like that you're
Yeah,
not a vegetarian because you're eating bacon. So it was
right.
funny that you said that. But no, it's true. I mean, sometimes I feel like the people also like fitness influencers or people that get, a lot of notoriety online for like their diet or looking a certain way. They really do feel that pressure to like lean into it and like be
Yeah,
this persona. And like then it's like, oh my God, like offline it's like, oh, nobody sees me, I might eat a fucking burger even though I'm a vegan or
hmm,
whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that's just like I love TikTok, but it also makes me really sad sometimes to like read through the comments on like these
hmm.
intense diet videos. Like have you ever done that?
No.
Don't. It's sad. Like and I don't know if like they're men or women or whoever's commenting. I'll just like kind of read and it's like, oh, I've tried this and I did it for like 2 weeks, but it was really hard. And
Uh,
sometimes I'll see like people comment back like you just have to keep doing it, or the influencer being
mm,
like, oh, try this, like do this, like we just have to like build up some discipline, or just like all these
yeah.
crazy things. And it's really sad and intense, and just to, oh my goodness, it's a lot. And like
Yeah,
and people turn to like some of these influencers
for
for
help.
health advice. Yeah, and it's like we got to make sure that people are qualified and that they're healthy. And just because somebody might look good in your like lens, like you're like, oh my God, they're so healthy, I want to look like them, or I want to have their body. It's like we got to dig a little bit deeper, because clearly, unfortunately, this person was probably sick and they might not have even known it, from being malnourished.
I think it's worth mentioning some signs that what you're doing is not it's not healthy for you. Where
Yeah.
you're undernourished, malnourished, you're not, it's you maybe you're losing weight, but some signs I think are really good to point out. Hair loss. There's
Yep.
a lot of diets out there that women are like, I lost all the weight, but I lost like all my hair,
But
right?
now I am balding.
No,
Yeah.
I think I have alopecia. No, you just aren't eating enough food.
Yeah.
One of the most common ones, especially for myself, losing your period. Your period starting to become irregular
Yep.
slash non-existent. That can happen when your body fat is too low.
Yep.
For some, my percentage is probably different from Allie's. I think mine is like if I start dropping under, I don't know, like 20, 19, like it gets on the fritz. So I can't drop that low of body fat. I don't even know where I'm at now, but high enough to where my period's regular, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
Um, trouble regulating body temperature. There have been times where I've been dieting and I'm like, literally, it's 90 degrees and I'm like freezing, like in a thermal like
Yeah.
hoodie.
Yeah.
So, body temp regulation. Always tired. If you're like
Mhm.
literally tired, no matter what, even after you got like 9 hours of sleep, definitely you're not eating enough. Mood regulation, that's a big
Mhm.
one. You're on edge, constantly hungry. Am I missing any? Stomach ulcers, probably. That's probably one.
Yeah, I would also say like looking at the digestion side of it, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and this is makes me so happy to be in this space, because it's like, okay, we can talk about these things. I was
Yeah.
watching it's a podcast, but I watched it on YouTube. And like you guys can do for us, Okay.
Yes.
If you like to watch people. So I was watching it, and this guy he's dieting, he's losing weight, he's not really doing it in like the healthiest way, and he's honest about it. He's like, I just want to lose the fucking weight. Like, I don't care. I'm so unhappy, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, but you know what? I think something's working. And he has lost weight and he is now doing it in a healthier way. So I love that. But he's like, yeah, like I think when you are, starting to lose weight, like you just poop less. Like I'm having these kind of little rabbit poops. Like I am not really pooping that much. And that means my body's just using all of the nutrients. No,
Mm,
no. Like that is a sign with, clients that come to me or just people. Like I want to know about your pooping. I want to
yep.
know how it is and how regular we are and what it is like because like little rabbit poops does not give us a good indication
Yeah.
that we're putting the right things into our body. So on top of a lot of the things that you said, especially with the hair loss, that's obvious. We can see that. Pay
Yeah.
attention to that. Your digestion, that is obvious. We can see
Yeah.
that. Sometimes we put on blinders because we're like, oh, is my period being a little wonky? Just you know what? I'm stressed. I'll just chalk it up to stress. But pay attention to these things because it really, it's your body talking to you and telling you like, yo, something is not right. And don't ignore that because it's really important, especially if you can catch it, early on, you start to notice, whoa, something's happening. You can you
Yeah.
can you can totally, work with your body and get yourself to a healthy place. And you can also still reach the goals that you have. But again, we
Yeah.
just do it in a healthy way. So
Yeah.
that's what Maddie are like all about. Like we want you to feel
Yes.
confident and be healthy and reach your goals, but we want you to do it in a healthy way. Like that's what we care about.
And you don't have to destroy your body to get to the result. And odds
Yeah.
are, if you are destroying, like pushing harder, harder, and going past 12 weeks, 15, 20 weeks of dieting, like the rebound is going to be worse.
Oh
The
yeah.
rebound of where your body is so primed to gain weight.
Yep.
That's why people rebound really hard after they go through a really, really strict diet. Like that's the biggest thing. So, it's not just your health, of course, like long-term things, but also like you're gonna gain the weight back.
So I know we had something else planned after this, but that just kind of made me like spark something and I wanted to like share something a little bit more about like my own experience with that and I feel like that's going to lead us into a tangent. So, are we
We could
cool
do
with that or
that.
should we go with the other
Yeah.
topic? Okay.
No, we
All
could
right,
talk
guys.
about that.
Perfect. We love the flow, you guys. You know what? It's a client said to me the other day. She said something like whatever. Like she was being concerned about something and I was like, "No, don't worry. Like I'm the boss. I make the rules. Like whatever. Like this is my business. This is our podcast. We get to go with the flow." So, I love this. Okay, so speaking of rebound weight. So, I don't think I didn't tell Maddie this until like not even that long ago, but I had been diagnosed with agoraphobia, which is a panic disorder, in like the end of 2019. And if I looked at those pictures and if you looked at me, you'd probably be like, oh my God, she's in the best shape of her life. Like I was going to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week. My nutrition was like literally on point, like 95% of the time. Steps were like always hit. And to me at that time, it did not feel any type of way. Like it was easy. That's what my life could handle. I just graduated college in May earlier that year, and I was like into my business. Like everything was great. And then it was like on Black Friday, we were in the mall, me, my mom, and James, and we're in line for like Lululemon. And I literally am like, I have to get the fuck out of here. Like I don't know what this feeling is. I do not like it. So I like ran to the bathroom, vomited, had diarrhea. So
Oh,
cute. My body was like, we are not safe. So then I'm like, I need to go outside. So I like called my mom and I was like, I need to just like walk around the outside of the mall. And I called my sister and she's like, it's all right. Like, you probably you're having anxiety. It's a lot of people. And 2 weeks later, I like could not leave the house. The idea of getting in a car was I like couldn't breathe. I was crying, couldn't eat, like nothing. My body was like in stuck in like a panic.
Mm.
So I'm like on FaceTime with my sister. I remember I had these awful like blue acrylics on, like they were like a navy blue. I don't even know why I picked that color, but I think I was like at CVS and I was like, I just like need something to cheer me up. And they were literally so ugly. But I just remember like typing on my computer and I'm trying to like get like find a therapist and like do all this and whatever. And I had tried therapy like 3 times before and it just like never really worked for me. And so that was like a push I needed to like, okay, we got to handle this. So fast forward, I start medication and like different treatments for my agoraphobia. And all of a sudden, my appetite came back. And remember what Maddy said when we have been under eating chronically, when that appetite, comes back or when we stop a dieting phase, your body is basically in the best position to gain weight. Like,
Mhm.
and so I gained like 10 pounds very quickly. And I
How
was like,
quickly?
um, like probably 2 months. But
Okay, so pretty
if
fast.
I look at pictures, I was very happy with how I looked. Like when I was like pre that, I was like, ooh, I look very small. Like now
Mhm.
looking back at it, I can see I was in pain and struggling.
Yeah.
When I had gained some weight, I was like, oh, I still felt good. So I was working with my coach at the time, and it was not the best fit all the time. And that's okay, right? Like we are coaches and we understand that sometimes things don't work out. But what I wish I would have done is vocalized it
Yep.
instead of stifled my voice because I was like, I'm already so anxious. Now I don't want to go out of my way and tell somebody that this might not be the best fit. Like that
Yeah.
to me was like, uh, bitch, I'm gonna panic. Like this is not
Yeah.
good. So we worked on, getting more food into my body, whatever. Things were good for a little while, but we were in the midst of 2020. Things were stressful. Shit was happening. And after I stopped a dieting phase, my coach's protocol was to just raise my calories very high and to have me stop tracking. And when I remember telling Maddy this, I was like, I know as a coach how bad that sounds because I wouldn't do that to a client, but why didn't I speak up for myself? So this is even worse. In like 3 months after that, I gained 30 pounds. And it was
Whoa.
horrible because not only was I so anxious to like my routine was hard to have because I couldn't figure out how to navigate it. I was like, going to the gym makes me anxious. Getting in the car makes me anxious, but I want to be at the gym, but I don't want to do home workouts, but I guess I'll do it. Like it was
Yeah.
chaos and we needed to like figure out what was happening with that chaos. But it was such a humbling experience for me as a coach because I was able to really feel I had to feel so vulnerable to then like be able to like scratch my way out of this hole that I was feeling in because I saw myself right then and there like in May certain jeans that fit me by August did not fit me. And I was like, I this protocol is not working for me. And I finally got the balls to like speak up for myself, even though I should have. But it was like sometimes that anxious voice in your head is just like, no, 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 you don't deserve to speak up for yourself, or you can't because you're paying this person and they know what they're doing and whatever. But as a coach, I should have spoken up for myself. And I don't think I would go back and do things differently because I think it gave me like I grew as a person, but it was just my body was so underfed that
Mm.
untracked food and eating more food and going in with like an intuitive approach. Yeah. not the vibe when you're just stopping dieting. And again, as a
Yeah.
coach, I kind of had red flags about that, but I was like, no, we're not going to speak up.
I
So
wonder if it was like a power type thing. Like, oh, I'm working with this coach, even though I'm a coach, but they're the coach. I'm just going to listen to what they say.
I think it was. I do think it was because and they were older than me. So right now I'm 26 and I was 23. I was 22 when I started working with them and they were a little
Mhm.
bit older than me. So I think it was they know more than me,
Mhm.
or that's what I was giving them the power of.
Mhm.
Um, and I do tell my clients this story because I'm like, I want you to speak up. Like there is no right or wrong opinions that you have. Like I want you to speak up because your voice matters and like it's your body. You have every right to speak up and like I wish I vocalized more of my struggles. Like I just
Mhm.
was like, I guess it's normal to feel this way because I'm also like navigating through my
Mental
mental
health.
health. So
Yeah.
maybe it's me. Um, but it was just it was absolutely insane to me to look back and be like, wow, over the course of the summer, my body just held on to everything that I put in my fucking mouth.
I mean, I just can't like maybe was it a dude?
Mm-mm.
I don't know why I thought it was a dude. Anyway,
I,
maybe
I,
like
you know what? I would understand the situation
not
better.
listening to
Maybe if
women.
it was.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like the fact I personally have never taken someone through an intense diet and then said basically it's a free for all now. Like that's like that's like what people do on a normal basis with their
Right,
dieting.
right.
Like,
No,
hey,
it
like they finish a diet plan, whatever it is, and then they get to their goal weight, whatever it is, and they're like, I'm done, and then go back to like regular, like I that's what people do, and then that's when they come to us because they're like, I'm sick of it, you know? Why I don't
literally.
like
It was and without saying numbers because I don't want you guys to like do what I do or what does or whatever because like everybody's individual, but I was at basically the lowest I could handle for my calories. Like I was like when I got to that point I was like nope, done. I am hungry. Like I pushed and I'm done. Like everybody has their lower limit. And then it was like, oh, okay, perfect. Now, we're going to increase to this number, but we're going to work on an intuitive approach. We're going to because I went to them because I was like, oh, I want to learn more about my intuitive eating and whatnot. Um, and no, it was not the vibe. I felt my body was ravenous, so my brain was not thinking about, oh, let's be intuitive about how much
it was like food.
sauce we're using. Yeah, whatever. Like I was like, yeah, no, it was straight up a free for all and it was crazy because my metabolism was fucked. I didn't learn anything. I still didn't have a routine that I felt great about. And I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
this is now this is my rock bottom. Like, you're like, oh, I hit rock
yeah.
bottom. No, now I hit rock bottom. I was like, no, now I hit rock
But
bottom.
how do they call themselves? Were they portraying themselves as an intuitive eating coach? How can you portray yourself as that, but then not actually teach someone how to each intuitive eat when they just came out of a diet and are probably starving and will eat whatever? Like, have they not heard of reverse dieting, which is like slowly coming out of the diet, which is like
I
very, very,
know.
very important? Like,
I know. And that's
oh,
what I think people, maybe get fearful of because when we say reverse diet and we're saying, oh, we're going to eat more after the dieting phase, I think people's ears perk up and they're like, oh my God, I've done that before and it didn't work. But the way that we do it, it's very strategic. It is slow. We are monitoring just the way that
yeah,
you monitor a diet, you monitor the reverse and it's thought out. We're not
yeah,
just fucking closing our eyes and like throwing darts and see where it lands. Like that's kind of how I felt like looking back at it. Cause again, I think being in that moment, I just had so much of, I was in my head so much just as far as like trying to like navigate my anxiety, like in going through a pandemic and then like post pandemic and then just like being a young person like out of college and I'm like, "Oh my God, I've always felt this level of anxiety, but I never knew what to call it." And I always just thought it was like that's how everybody feels. And now I'm having my therapist tell me like, "No, like you don't actually have to live like that." So it was a lot. So I think I just didn't have like the tools within me to kind of question. I was like, "Oh, just like
Yeah.
follow blindly because like I don't know what else. Like I'm barely hanging on here, and I'm like I'm a business owner and a coach, and I'm supposed to be like this great person, and like I got to
Yeah.
do the best that I can. So it was, oh my God, it was like it was
A great
crazy,
learning experience.
great learning experience, and I think that's why like we do feel so passionately about what we do because like not only do we see it with our clients, but we experience the shit sometimes firsthand, and like we know how hard navigating like your health and fitness can be. And like we truly want to make it not so hard
Yeah.
because we learn from it. We get to learn and be like, okay, as coaches, how are we going to do this so that my clients can have a really great experience and not feel like maybe how I once felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. And like I hid from that for so long. Like I didn't want to ever talk about it because I like one kind of felt embarrassed and ashamed as a coach, but I was also like, am I being a dick? Right?
Why a dick?
I don't know. Like I get very
Self-conscious?
in my head about like I guess speaking up for myself.
Oh, yes. My thing is like being a bitch, like when I
Yeah.
say this. Oh, let me give you a great freaking example. Did I talk about I don't think I talked about this yet on here. It's nothing like crazy like yours. We have been getting a bunch of quotes on our basement to get it fixed. I didn't
Okay.
talk about this
No,
yet,
no, no.
right? Okay. And every time we had someone come in and it's for like waterproofing and like we have like apparently we have a creek, whatever it is, right outside our house under the ground. So
Okay.
that's why we have these water issues. Like a flowing river constantly. Yeah, it's wild.
Fabulous.
I know. Like, what were the odds?
Right.
And and so every time we have someone come in, it usually is like, 15, 20 minutes of them talking to us. Maybe they're here for an hour because they like want to understand what we want to accomplish. They look around the house, all those things. So we have this guy come in and he was like from a bigger system, a bigger company.
Corporation company. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it wasn't like a mom pop. It was like a mom pop, and then they like partnered with some like bigger company.
yeah. Okay.
And very nice guy, but like my red flags were going off, like the
Yeah.
mannerisms, like it was just way too salesy for me. Like I hate like very salesy
Like, are
things.
you
So I was
trying to like mansplain to me right now?
kind of, yeah. So
Okay.
he goes through all the basement stuff. And then, and Joel was like in and out of the house because he's working at the store. Then I'm like trying to get work done while the stranger is like walking through my house. And he's like,
Oh,
"Oh, I
no,
know.
no.
I know." And then so Joel's going back over, and then I'm in the basement with him, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. So like, are you just going to like take measurements and then send us the quote like everyone else has done? Like send me the quote over email." Okay. He goes, "No, I'm going to do it all here." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm going to go over it, the whole plan with you guys here, and then we'll talk numbers and stuff." And in my body, I was like, "He's been here for 45 minutes already.
Yeah.
Like, how long is this gonna take? Like, it's a work day. Like, I'm working, I'm getting stuff done."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I won't take that long, like 15, 10 minutes. I'll be done down here. And then I'll go up, I'll work on the quote." Because he like brought like a bag, a laptop. I'm like, what is this dude
God
doing?
damn, man's trying to move in.
I know. Comes upstairs. I thought he's like done. He's gonna like send us the quote, maybe, hopefully. And then he's like, oh, well, I'm going to work on it. It won't take me that long. So now I'm like effing starving. I'm making lunch because like I don't even care anymore. My house is small. So like if you're in the middle of it, like you see all of it. So it's just like
Yeah.
very intrusive.
Yeah.
So then he's cooking and I'm texting my sister and I'm like, this dude's in my house still. Like he said he's writing the quote. It's been like 10 minutes. She goes, tell him right now you need to leave because I did have to leave soon. Like he needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I felt weird, like I felt like he had like all the power. And
Mm.
I talked about this with my somatic coach already and like how I would handle the situation better, but the first time I did not. So I was like, hey, like I need to go. Like, how much longer is it gonna take? Oh, like 5, 10 minutes. Okay, fine. So I go finish making my lunch. Now I'm full on eating lunch because I don't give a shit. I'm start like when I get hungry, I'm hungry. Like you
Hmm.
can't stop me. Like I'm going to eat. And 10 minutes passes.
No.
He's not done. 15. He finally is done. I was like, ugh. I called Joel over. I'm like, how long is it gonna take? Oh, like no more than 15 minutes. This man opens his laptop. It is a full-on PowerPoint presentation about the company and how they're a mom and pop and how this and how that. And he's the way he's like asking questions, he's directing it all to Joel. And
No.
in my mind, I was like, like, dude, like I think you think talking to him is gonna help you. I make the decisions.
Yeah.
You don't. Like I'm the one who's gonna veto this or tell you we're doing it. After he goes through a 1,000,000 hour PowerPoint presentation, I'm like literally kicking myself because I'm like, why did I not just speak up and say, hey, I gotta go somewhere. I just need you to send me this. Finally, he goes through the numbers. It is going on an hour and a half of this stranger of being in my house. An hour and a half, and I want to
No.
scream.
No.
And all because maybe I'll cut the story short here, but all because I was just like, I thought I was going to come off bitchy if I
Right.
told him how to do his job.
Yeah.
I didn't need him to do all of this stuff. I just needed you to get in my house, take measurements, send me a freaking proposal. So, long story short, at the end, he's trying to get us to say yes right now. And he was like, well, here are your options, A or B. And I was like, okay, how about you just send us those and we're gonna think about it. Oh, like how would you want me to send them? I guess no one has ever told you no because I'm not effing saying yes right now. Send
What
me
do you
them over
mean? How
email.
do you want me to send them? Like, what do
I know.
you just spent all this time making a PowerPoint? I
I
think you
know.
know how to send an email.
I
Or you know what? Let
know.
me do you the favor. Let me just like fucking write it down right now so you can get the fuck out of my house.
I know. It
Oh,
was he was in my house for over 2 hours. Then I'm
Maddie.
trying to get ready and I'm in the bathroom. I lock the door. I hear this man still in my house and Joel talking about me with him. He's like, oh, she has some event to go to. And I like come out. I'm like, were you talking about me? It was terrible. All because I was afraid I was going to come off as a bitch by saying, hey, I have somewhere to be. I didn't block enough time. You're going to have to leave.
Yeah.
A big learning
No.
for me.
Oh my God. But that's such that is such a thing we feel so deeply. And
Yeah.
I applaud all the women that are like, no, like your sister. She probably would have responded differently
Mhm.
in the situation than you did. And it's like, how do I get there? Like, how do I overcome this internal feeling that like I'm being rude or I'm being a bitch? And when really it's like, no, I'm just setting a boundary and being like, dude, like, first of all, I don't feel comfortable with like men coming in and like doing work. Like whenever that needs to
Yeah.
happen, I'm like, James, you got to be home because like I'm working, so I don't want to be bothered. Two, I don't need this. Like, no,
Yeah.
I've watched enough TV. All right. Like I am, and I'm anxious. I don't need this shit. And then to just
Yeah.
like blatantly steamroll your boundary when you're trying to
Yeah.
like give subtle hints. Oh my goodness. No, I would have,
So many.
Maddie, you're gonna die. You are literally gonna die. This is
What?
mortifying. So one time, it was like so bad. Some person comes, I'm at my parents' house. Some person comes and they're like talking about what do you call it? Solar
God.
panels.
Oh God.
I did not I don't know what happened. Like, I think I blacked out. I was all of a sudden, I set up an appointment for them to come back that I never intended on doing anyway. Because I like couldn't say no. And then I literally, 10 minutes after the person left, I was like, oh my God, I have to call this company. I have to cancel this appointment. Like, this is not even my house. What just happened? Like,
Your parents' house.
I fucking blacked out because I
Oh,
didn't know how to say no, because the person was
yeah,
just so pushy and like it was a man. And
yeah,
again, like I'm home alone. I should have never answered the door. Like I'm just like, oh my God. I was just like, I don't know
yeah,
what to do in this situation. So like it's crazy. But the good thing is when we recognize that, like, you know what, somebody totally just crossed my boundary here. What am I gonna do the next time? So like what would you do the next time? Give me
Well,
the scene.
I worked through the whole scene with my somatic therapist,
I
and
love
something she
that.
said to me, I just wrote an email on this because it's really, really, I thought, powerful.
Yeah.
But when you do what's best for you, it's also what's best for everyone else, almost
Yeah.
in every situation in life. And I was like, oh, so good. And so she told me, like, I feel anxiety in my chest really fast. Like
Yeah.
I can retell a story and feel the exact feelings. When I was telling you this story just now, I felt everything again, which is a good tool to have
Yeah.
because then I can put myself in that situation and learn how to fix it and what to do differently. So now looking back on it, I would have said, "Hey, I totally understand that. We did not budget enough time for this. We only budgeted an hour. If you can send me your proposals over email, I need to leave in 15 minutes. So we'll have to close this out in 15 minutes. That's what's best
Yeah.
for me. I'm not lying. I have to
No.
go somewhere and like I feel good. Like I
Yeah.
feel warmth in my stomach and in my chest when I say that. And I'm like, wow, I would have saved myself like an hour and a half extra of stress if I just
Yeah.
said what was best for me, which is best for everyone else.
Yeah. And it's when we can look at it like kind of like outside our body. That's not rude. That's not bitchy. That's not any type of way. That's just like
No, that's the
these are the
truth.
facts. These are the facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. No,
Growth,
it is
growth.
growth and it's so powerful to be able to work through that because then you don't find yourself in these recurring situations where it's
Yeah,
like, wow, I never speak up and I never
yeah,
set a boundary because I'm always so concerned, but this feeling just keeps happening in my
yeah.
chest and I feel like it's not the right decision, but oh my God, that is so powerful. I love that. And like
I know.
you get to now like you get to apply that in like so many situations that it's not just oh when the, some guy's coming over for like a quote. Like now I get to really have that
Yeah,
feeling of like validation like I can speak up for what I need.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I don't know, like I was wondering, like, how is it the best for everyone else too? Like him not crossing my boundary would lead to me not wanting to tear him apart in my house and like getting very frustrated and him dealing with that wrath. Because there
Yeah.
was a little bit of a wrath whenever we were talking numbers and he like wouldn't get the point that we're not saying yes to
Yeah.
anything right now.
Yeah.
That's where the wrath came out. So he would have avoided that.
Yeah. No, that's
So
so true. I love that mantra. Like, because a lot of the times I feel I will just say yes to things even though I'm anxious about it. And like it's kind of frustrating because like my type of anxiety is just it's about everything. Like agoraphobia is like having like the basically the fear of like not having control. So when you have
oh,
panic attacks,
hmm,
now your fear is like, oh, I'm going to be out in public and I'm going to have a panic attack. Like it's going to happen again and I'm not going to have control. So like
oh,
a lot of the times, which sometimes I get mad at myself for, but I just do things to kind of keep the peace. I just say
oh,
yes to things
a hundred
or,
percent.
and in my chest, I'm like, I'm going to have a fucking panic attack. Like I
Yes,
need to pop a
yes.
Klonopin. I need to like try and center myself. Like I need to like
Yep.
call my therapist. And it's like, I will eventually get to that place of being able to like what's best for me is best for everybody else, but it's hard. Like
It's
I
a
love how you
muscle.
had that breakthrough. Yeah.
I
That
know.
yeah, you're
Oh,
like you're flexing that muscle.
yeah, you gotta work on it. Just like same thing with meditation. I started meditating every morning. Okay, I missed a few days, but I did really good from August so far, so I'm proud
Yeah.
of that. But I was talking to my somatic therapist and I was like, I'll be sitting meditating and it will be like directing you what to like think about. And I'll be thinking about it. And then like all these other things will come in. And I'm like, push it away, think about this. Then all these things come in. I'm like, don't think about that. And she goes, that's good. You are flexing that muscle of concentrating on one thing. And the more
Oh
you
hell
work on it,
yeah.
just like habits, just like working out, just like drinking more water, the more you work on it, the stronger it's going to get. So hopefully one day I'll be able to sit for even 60 seconds and my mind won't wander, but it's going to take some time. And the more I work
Yeah.
at it, it will get better.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And I think a lot of the times people quit things like they'll try meditating or they'll try yoga or breath work or therapy like to really, try and figure out what's going on and trying to listen to their body and it's hard so
Mhm.
they find
They quit.
themselves stopping. Yeah, and
Mhm.
I've totally been in those situations where it's just like this is too hard or thoughts are coming in that I just like can't deal with right now. So whatever, like we're not doing it. But the more and the more that we do practice, like it's totally like you go to the gym, you want to get fucking stronger, you want to lift, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, etc. You have to keep going. You have to
Yeah.
keep doing it even when it's hard. And
Yep.
oh, that's so good. That's so good. Like I'm just now picturing like my brain flexing, like a little arm popping out of it.
Pulsing. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Oh
the
God.
feeling of like when I get a migraine, like I feel like I can literally feel my brain pulsing, but change that into be like, no,
Oh, I
that's
felt
like,
that before.
oh my God, it's
Yeah.
literally. But if we think about it like, oh, when we're meditating, like my brain is literally flexing right now. Like,
You know who drop a comment, people, if you know who we should have on. I would love to have on multiple different
ooh,
professionals, an agoraphobia therapist, professional, someone that like
yeah.
works with people because you're the first person I've ever met that has had that said disorder. Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
Disorder?
disorder.
Disorder. I've my mom deals with depression. I know friends with anxiety, but never agoraphobia.
Yeah, and it's really it's interesting because I never heard of it before, but before I got diagnosed, have you ever watched Shameless?
Yes.
Okay, so Sheila has agoraphobia.
Sheila.
She is in like the first couple of seasons, like she's Karen's mom,
Karen.
the blonde girl
It's
who
been
gets
so
pregnant.
long since I've
Okay, it's like
watched it.
first season.
Okay.
So she has agoraphobia. And when I first started watching that show, I was like, why do I feel so triggered? Like I literally am having anxiety watching this show. Like I'm
Uh-huh.
about to panic. And so I would always like be like to James, I was like, oh, can we just like watch something else? Or like I would just like play on my phone. Like it was so intense.
Mm.
And so then when I, brought it up in therapy, like now probably like almost 4 years ago, I was like, I am triggered watching Shameless and watching Sheila. And he goes, well,
Hmm.
yeah, that makes sense. And I go, why? And he goes, well, like she has agoraphobia. And like, even though it is portrayed like rather intensely, which a lot of the times on TV, mental health things are portrayed really intensely, he's like,
Yes.
that's a feeling that you can relate to. And it's really intense. And I'm like, I have not really seen agoraphobia like portrayed a lot. And then I've also never like had that somebody validating and be like, no, it's like totally like, of course that's triggering to you because you're watching somebody having a fear that you have. Like I was
Mm.
housebound for probably 2 weeks, which is not
That's
in,
long still.
it's long. I know like some people that I've like, you know, chatted with on TikTok or like I'll read in the comments, like they do have things more severely. And I don't like to compare like everybody's bad is bad, right?
Yeah.
But in those 2 weeks, my head was like, how am I ever gonna drive? How am I ever gonna do anything? And then this is also like in the middle of like COVID. So like I
Mm,
was like, I literally can't do anything. And now I don't have the opportunity to like do exposure work. So I got lazy. I was like, oh good. Like I
uh,
don't have to go out. I don't have to do anything, which is like the worst thing you can do for like,
yeah,
OCD or
yeah.
anxiety or whatever. So it was just it's been really cool to like not only learn about myself, but just to learn about like just different types of disorders because you can actually like you get to understand and see people in such a different way. And I think that's like what
Mm.
my previous coach, which is not her fault, but she just didn't know how to see me in that way. And like,
How did,
yeah, yeah.
how did it feel to be seen by your therapist whenever he was like, yeah, it makes sense that you're getting triggered by her?
Oh, I think I like probably like ugly cried. Like I ugly
I do
cry
the same
all the
thing.
time with him. And it's really interesting because I've always had women
You have a
therapists.
guy therapist?
Yeah,
I
and I
could
love it.
never.
So
Oh,
I
nope.
always thought that, but I always had women before and you know, I felt uncomfortable talking about like my body issues to other women because I felt like they might be judging me because
Mm,
like I am like a smaller I live in a smaller body. I feel like they're gonna judge me because I have these, self-conscious thoughts or body image sometimes. So I was like, all right, you know what? Yes, I'm going in for like agoraphobia treatment, but like also like I have other shit that comes up. So I was like,
yeah.
let me try a dude. Best fucking thing ever. Like I swear I can be so real with this man. I'm like straight up, I'm like, Colin, you know what? Like today was shit. And like I don't know what to do. And he's like, all right, like let's talk through this. And I've never felt so free. And like I've
Nice.
never felt so like I would never have like my PCP be a man. Like that would just like
Or
really
your
like
gynecologist?
no, never, fucking never. Like get
Okay.
the fuck away from me.
I had a male gynecologist put
Oh,
in my IUD way back
no.
when. Slight pinch, and then intruding burn, like the pain from hell. Yes, bad timing. My
Oh my
IUD is out, thank
God.
God. But yeah,
Yeah. But
but
that's
yeah,
it's so crazy and intense and like I don't know. There's a weird thing about like maybe and maybe it's also like an internalized thing, but I feel so seen by a like a male professional because like girls a lot of the time, oh, you're crazy or you just have a lot of anxiety. Like I've always like
hmm
it's just always been like, oh, Allie's just like really anxious. Like growing up, that was just like kind of the
mm,
thing. So I don't know if it's just
yeah,
like being feeling so seen by like a professional who is also a
yeah,
man. So like
yeah,
I don't know. It's like it's really it I would have never thought I would have like vibed so hard, but I don't know, it's really cool. So like sometimes like you might like pick somebody as like your coach or your therapist or your doctor and like you might not get it right the first time and that's okay. And like
yeah,
then you might end up vibing with somebody that you're like, "Oh my God, I totally would have never seen myself being able to open up so
yeah,
much." And
yeah,
it's kind of just again, you got to like flex it. Like sometimes sometimes you just can't get it right on the first try, and that's okay.
yeah. I mean, the last three therapists, my current somatic therapist, love. My
Yeah.
previous like talk therapy, also love. The one before that, love, but then she moved out of state, and so it just didn't work anymore. There was probably five before that, and I was like, oh, going through hell. Like
Yeah.
the body image thing you brought up, definitely had that. Like when I was like sick, and
Yeah.
I like was starting to not be able to walk and work out as much, and I was telling her like I'm losing my identity because
Yeah.
that was all my life at the time was fitness. And she was like, we still look good. And I was just like, this is not going to work.
No, because it's
Like,
not about
it's
that.
not exactly. Of course, like I wanted to look good and feel good. I was only like 20 at the time,
Yeah.
going downhill, to where I couldn't walk. And then someone's
Yeah.
basically gaslighting the pain
Yeah.
I was feeling. So when he said that, I was like, I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah. That's oh that and that's a hard thing for people to come back from because you may experience something like that and then it's like, oh, all therapists are like that.
Yeah,
And
and luck you have to keep going. You
you
have to
you
keep
do. You
trying.
do. You do. It's you know what? And sometimes it's okay if you feel like I'm on my ex therapist and like, is this crazy? Like, is it me? No, it's not you. Like, you're just, it's like dating. You're finding your person.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry that happened to you because that is like literally so invalidating and like
Yeah.
so obtuse. Like to say to somebody who is like bearing their soul and being like, this is
Yeah.
how I'm feeling. And you're also sick. Like you're going through a lot to just say, well, you look good. That's not the point. And like,
Exactly.
obviously, I don't feel that way. So it's
Yep.
just, oh my goodness, that's crazy. But I'm glad you were able to like keep going with it. Like, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
shit, this happened. Now I can't ever go back. Like, you found your people that see you and hear you and really, really validate you and like allow you to be you, like to
Yeah.
take up as much space as you need. And I think that's really important with therapy. Like you need to be able to feel like you can take up as much space and like be heard and say whatever you need to say.
Yeah.
And like
Oh, I
I would,
swear I'm like evil. I'm like, this
well,
is
I
gonna sound
always,
so bad. And she's
yes,
like, it's
yes,
fine.
yes. I always say, oh, this is gonna sound bad, or I feel bad for saying this. And he goes, okay, he goes, it's me, so it's okay. But also, you need to say these things. And
Yeah.
maybe we don't say it to the person's face, but like we're allowed to say maybe bad things or negative things, and that's gonna allow us to like work through it or vent.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you don't have to say all of like the worst thoughts to your best friend, to your sister. Like sometimes you can keep that shit like in
To
therapy.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. What was I gonna ask? I know you have a hard stop, so I don't want to keep going over.
I know. Like
But
I could keep talking. Is this like
I know.
is this
No,
I
I'm
love
having a
it.
good time. I
I
did before we started today. I was like, you know what? Would be fun. We should put predictions. What episode number? What? How is that the right word? What episode do you think will have our first sponsor?
Oh, okay. Wait. In post, like edit, I want to like put a little pop-up like kind of hot, kind of healthy predictions and like have it so like we can look back on it.
Oh,
And that's gonna be really cute.
cute.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm really bad at making these guesses or predictions. Like, you know, when you look at a jar and it's like, how many M&Ms are in the jar? I
Oh, yeah, same.
I
I'm not the
always
person.
overshoot or undershoot, but I will say let's just go with episode 100 because that feels like a good
Oh,
number.
oh. I was like, maybe 20. You never know.
You never
You're
know. I
right,
mean, hey,
because right now, as of probably when you guys hear episode 4, we're still just doing every other week. At some point, we probably will do every week just because
yeah.
we really enjoy this. And it's fun. We like talking about this stuff. But okay, maybe I'll re guess. Maybe like I feel like 75 is a lot to still be like
75
we
is
have.
good. 75 is good though.
Okay, 75. That's a lot. So we're 4 in now. So
Yay!
by 75.
71 to go.
Who are we looking to work with? I'll take some free food. What is that?
Oh,
The what?
food would be good.
Hello Fresh, come at us.
HelloFresh would be
Um,
great.
who are we manifesting? So someone else
We
we can manifest.
maybe we could manifest like
Lululemon, Lululemon.
Lululemon.
We are we are women. We
We
move.
are women, we work out, we eat
We
good
move.
food.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like is like a pretty fire is like, and I see a lot of people do it like sex toys, like all over
Oh God.
Instagram. Like you see like a girl, like I there's this she's another coach that I follow, but she got like she talks a lot about like sexual health and like all that sort of stuff. And
Uh-huh.
like she like holds up her little vibrator and like in the picture,
Oh
like
Lord.
I
I don't
die.
know if my family will ever listen to this. I took them off my email list. I don't even think they know that because I was like, I just don't want my mom and dad reading. Like, how about this? My one email, it was about like something kind of deep.
Sure.
And my dad responds to the email and was like, are these the headphones you were looking for? With like a link to an Amazon like head. And I was just like, that he could text me that. He responds via email.
He's like, I want you to know that I read this. And you're like,
I
I
was like,
didn't need to know that.
and then from there, I went on to my thingy and I was like, delete, delete.
Delete. Yes, yes. Block, delete,
Uh,
block, delete. No, I boundaries. It's fine.
Yes. Last question. Do
Yeah.
you think will your family listen to this? Would you let them?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. My
Okay.
sister definitely will. I've been sharing everything with her like behind the scenes, and I'm like,
Same.
you need to be brutally honest. My mom definitely will not. I don't think she's like listened to a podcast a day in her life.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't even think she like knows like where the podcast app is on her
Okay.
phone. And my dad doesn't have a phone. He has an iPad. So
That's amazing.
it's like kind of great because like you can like be very free, but also at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm like, I'm trying to get in contact with you. Like I can't call your fucking iPad. Like, where are you?
You could FaceTime it.
Oh, great. He's like in public. Hello. I'm like,
How old's your dad?
he just turned 67 and my
Okay.
mom is 55, I
Okay.
think.
Your mom's around my mom's age too, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, my mom like loves the tech, loves her Instagram, loves her Facebook. Like she's a total lurker, like
Oh,
doesn't like
cute.
post a lot but like loves the
Yeah.
lurk. So
Yeah.
like she always like will heart up like all the stories like of like sharing about podcast stuff. And then yeah, no, but she like will like I guarantee you if I'm like, "Oh, like could you listen to it?" She'd be like, "I don't know where to find that."
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay. All right. Now before we keep going, anything you want to plug or want to say?
I think just in this episode we were able to get deep, and that's something that I definitely want to keep going with you guys. And I just want this to be like a really fun and safe space. So I'm going to keep showing up in this energy. And we do have, which Maddie's going to tell you about in a minute, we do have an email. And we want you to submit your questions or thoughts or just topics you want to talk about, anonymous stories, things that you feel would be like fun to share, important to share, or could reach other people. And like we can really make this like a really big, like kind of hot, kind of healthy community.
Yeah.
Because we're having so much fun and we
Yeah.
can't wait for you guys to listen. And like we know everybody's gonna have so much fun and relate to something in every show.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like we are relatable queens, and that's the goal.
Mm-hmm,
Sorry.
mm-hmm. No, I
My
like
bad.
if I spit out my coffee, that would have been like very on brand. Like I anytime, like I swear my sister does this on purpose, I will be like drinking things and then she kind of just says outrageous things like all the time. Like that's just her
Uh-huh.
brain is always outrageous. I have like spit out more times than I would like to admit because I'm like, what the fuck? Or I'm just laughing. I'm like, you are insane. So thank you for
Uh,
that.
you're welcome. Okay, because Allie can keep going forever, I need to cut her off.
Yeah, you should
She's like, I
cut
have a
that
hard
bitch off.
stop at 10:30, 10:35. I'm like, Allie, shut up. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening and or watching. Kind of hot, kind of healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us so we can reach more women just like you. You can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. And we finally fixed our email. So if you have a burning question about life, friendships, health, just 1 or 2 cents about something, want to drop something you want us to talk about, or a professional you want us to have on one day, you can email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's kinda KINDA hot HOT pod POD@gmail.com. We love to include a new segment where we are going through listener questions. So that's it, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye guys.